Tonight on Narativ, we expose what may be the most significant foreign influence operation in American political history, as new details emerge about Elon Musk's direct line to the Kremlin and his plans to reshape the American economy. Elon Musk has openly admitted his intention to crash the American economy, calling it part of a deliberate plan to implement radical cuts that economists warn could devastate millions of Americans. Musk has become quite the fixture on the Donald Trump presidential campaign, and the two men have previously floated out the idea of a government efficiency office. But it was only this last Saturday at the extremist Madison Square Garden rally in New York that Elon Musk revealed how much of the budget he and Trump wanted to cut. $2 trillion. Now, to give you a sense of what $2 trillion really means in terms of the federal budget, the annual U.S. federal budget is $6.13 trillion this year. So in order to cut $2 trillion from it, you need to cut a third of the budget. And there's really no meaningful way to do that without going at the very core services that citizens have become used to. That means deeply cutting Medicare and Social Security, eliminating federal agencies like the FBI, NASA, the EPA, and the Education Department. It also means massive public service cuts, a huge unemployment spike. And then, of course, from all of that, you'll get economic contraction because less people will be earning money, so less people will be spending money, meaning the economy as a whole will shrink. On Fox News this week, Donald Trump told Sean Hannity that nobody's going to notice. Nobody's going to feel the cuts.
What would your role for Elon be, Elon Musk?
So Elon has a lot of roles he could take because he's a very exceptional guy. But he has a thing. He feels there's such waste, fraud, and abuse in our budgets. And he's right. And he's a great cost cutter. And he'll cut costs without anybody even knowing it. Nobody's going to know it. Nobody's going to feel it. He will cut costs, and he feels he can save $2 trillion. If he does that, our budget is more than balanced.
You may know that Javier Milei is the new president of Argentina, and he's a very good friend and confidant of Elon Musk. It's Javier Milei's shock therapy for Argentina that Musk seems to want to emulate in the United States. But take a look at what's happened in Argentina in the 6 months since Javier Milei started his shock therapy for Argentina. It's true that inflation has gone down from about 300% a year to 230% a year. But look at what's happened to the unemployment rate, up from 12% to 18%. And most critically, the poverty rate in Argentina, up from 42% to 53% in just a few months. When you're living in poverty, you're closer to death, you're suffering every day, and you're struggling to make ends meet. Hardly a recipe for a growth economy that we want in the United States. Yet for some reason, Argentina's policies instituted by Javier Milei is exactly what Elon Musk feels America needs right now. And that's why he's pursuing these $2 trillion in cuts he's calling shock therapy. And Musk admits all of this will be terrible for the U.S. economy. He admitted this week. He even said that he and Trump will crash the economy, but it's okay because they'll build a better world from the rubble, according to this one tweet, to which Elon Musk responded, "Sounds about right." So Elon Musk admitting there on X, on Twitter, that he knows that his shock therapy will lead to an economic crash in the United States. And that's where the story becomes even more interesting. Through his America PAC, Musk has become Trump's largest financial backer, contributing $118 million of his own money, plus $22 million provided by other billionaires to the America PAC. Sources have also confirmed that Musk played a pivotal role in selecting J.D. Vance as the vice presidential nominee. His proposed position, leading a new Department of Government Efficiency, would effectively make him the shadow power in any new Trump administration. Trump and Vance would be the face of the Trump administration, but behind the scenes, Musk would become a shadow power center where he would have the rights and authority to slash services like Medicare and Social Security, while still being a huge government contractor for SpaceX. And at the same time, he'd have a big hand in controlling public opinion because, of course, he'll still be the owner of Twitter or X. We've never had an administration with so much centralized control over public opinion and over budget cuts, which is normally a role of Congress. Now, why would Elon Musk, who has a lot on his plate, he already is running many companies, so why take on this responsibility?
There are a lot of questions being raised in the wake of the Wall Street Journal's reporting that Elon Musk has been in regular contact with Russian President Vladimir Putin for the last 2 years.
Elon Musk is calling up somebody who has invaded Ukraine, who has annexed territory. He's the first leader to have done that in Europe since Hitler. He is terrorizing Ukrainians. He is kidnapping Ukrainian children. So it is like calling Hitler during World War II.
You and your colleagues also report that Putin asked Musk not to activate his Starlink satellite internet service over Taiwan as a favor to Chinese leader Xi Jinping.
And what really interests me is if, God forbid, Trump were to win, whether it would be Elon Musk running the government and Trump working for him, or the other way around.
The Wall Street Journal has revealed that throughout the last few years, Musk has maintained regular contact with Russian President Vladimir Putin and his first deputy, Sergei Kerienko. Since late 2022, these contacts have been ongoing, and these were not just casual business conversations. They were very important conversations about strategic policy, geopolitical positioning, the deployment of technology like Starlink. Let's take a look at Sergei Kerienko, who is Putin's first deputy chief of staff and obviously a very key figure in Putin's administration. He is one of those people who gets things done in the Russian government, and he's very heavily relied on by Putin.
Скрываться смысла больше нет. И сейчас мы расскажем, что было сделано за год нашей работы.
Now, you might recall a few weeks ago on Narativ, we exposed how the Social Design Agency, which was a Russian intelligence front, was one of the organizations that was set up in order to create disinformation and propaganda. It was set up by Sergei Kerienko. And there's one occasion that we can absolutely prove that Elon Musk ran a meme denigrating Vladimir Zelensky on his Twitter feed that came from the Social Design Agency, a Russian intelligence front. We have the minutes of that very meeting where inside the Social Design Agency, they were celebrating the success of having Elon Musk send out this particular tweet with this meme of Vladimir Zelensky. And that's not all. Our investigation of the Twitter purchase has revealed that two sons of well-known Russian oligarchs were involved in funding the purchase of Twitter. Those two children of the oligarchs are acting as proxies for their fathers and indeed for the Kremlin. All of this combined, the direct contact with Vladimir Putin at this very high level, discussing strategic objectives, including the deployment of technology and geopolitical moves, and direct contact with Sergei Kerienko, Putin's first deputy chief of staff, who oversees Russia's information warfare operations. And then, of course, the money flowing through to his purchase of Twitter that came through the sons of these two oligarchs. All of that combined gives one the very clear impression that we are looking at an influence operation here and not a normal business undertaking by your typical billionaire. We've put together a timeline showing exactly when the contacts with Vladimir Putin and Kerienko took place and how that coordinated with the actual purchase of Twitter. Well, you can see that in late 2022 was the start of regular contact between Putin and Musk. In October of 2022, that's when the Twitter acquisition actually took place. That's when the funding would have come through from these two oligarch kids, plus others who helped purchase Twitter for $44 billion. And then after that is when the Kerienko conversation started. So it's after the purchase, funded by the Kremlin itself, that Musk started having regular contact with Sergei Kerienko, the first deputy chief of staff in Putin's office. That contact goes all the way through to the election campaign. And perhaps what's most striking about this is that piece of propaganda that Elon Musk shared on his Twitter account featuring Vladimir Zelensky. This piece of propaganda, that was dated October 2023. So a few months after his initial contact with Sergei Kerienko, he was already posting disinformation, propaganda, manufactured by the Russians on his X account. This is the kind of stuff the Russians seek the most, is to get people of influence to be retweeting and sharing their propaganda. And there he is in October 2023, year after his first contact with Vladimir Putin, going ahead and doing exactly that. With about 72 hours left in this US presidential campaign, it seems we're on the verge of an unprecedented moment in American history. We have here a potential future administration where the real power could lie with an individual who is in direct communications with Vladimir Putin and the Kremlin. In 2016, Russia's interference campaign focused on social media manipulation and email hacks. But that looks like child's play today compared to what we're about to see if the Trump administration is elected. Just consider what it would look like to have a Putin-connected power broker like Elon Musk at the highest levels of American government, answerable almost to nobody because he really will control the purse strings of the Trump campaign and of the Trump administration, and have complete unfettered power to slash budgets and remake America's economy, indeed to remake America, in a very different light.
One day you'll tell the story of autocrats, crooks, and kings who came for our freedom. A story of citizens who stood up to tyranny and won. The people prevailed and renewed an old vow to a more perfect union. And that was just the beginning. The story continues. Narativ, where truth lives.